Koka sunarai sunarayenti. 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 Koka sunarai sunarayenti.
Hello, welcome to this new episode of the Mango TV podcast. Today I'm very excited, I'm very pleased to have Diego Torán. Diego has worked in all fields of the music industry for 30 years, helping artists find their inner voice. Since he moved to Ibiza during COVID, he has focused on all research related to sound healing and working with artists whose music becomes a tool for achieving higher state of consciousness. He has created the music label recording studio called House of Frequency and is fully committed to enrich the possibility for the live music scene in the island. He believes psychedelics are definitely an amazing tool for reconnecting with ourselves and for creativity, but need to be addressed with more cautiousness. We are starting to commit the same mistake that in the 60s, he says, and also that there are some other amazing tools to find and keep the state of inner connection with more safety. Thank you very much for being here, Diego.
Thank you, Giancarlo.
So yes, Diego is a real special character because, as you know, music and sound is integral part of the psychedelic experience. To the extent even, I was with one of the big VC investor in the psychedelic space, and he told me that there's two really effective ways to invest in the new psychedelic renaissance. One is drug development, and the other is music. I was like, oh my God, it's really happening. So we will talk about everything. In America, there is a musician called East Forest, and they say that he started a movement called conceremony, the integration of concert and ceremony. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's tell us a little bit about your journey. You were like a businessman, city boy, like me, like many of us, and then what happened?
Well, should I start from the very beginning? But like my first experience with psychedelic,
yes, sure.
And my passion with music, I think they were a little bit connected.
Connected, exactly.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I started being crazy about music when I was very young, no? Like obsessed. I wanted to do everything in my life related to the music, no? And I had my first psychedelic experience really young too, with
how old?
15.
Madrid?
In the place where I go, where I used to go for summertime. And
in Spain?
I didn't know what it was really. I thought it was something, like. Actually, I was going to buy some little house, and they told me, no, we don't have house, but we have trippies, no? Is how they call it. And I said, okay, give me one trippy. And I tried by myself without knowing what it was, and it was an amazing experience, no?
What was it, this trippy?
What was it?
Yeah. What medicine was it?
It was LSD.
LSD.
No. So.
Do you remember how much? Would you say? It was a big trip, like ego dissolution.
It was half of a secante of
so
a
maybe
paper,
50,
and I went out
50
for a
microgram.
night, and I felt amazingly incredible, no, and funny and mature and connected, and it was an unbelievable experience. And then there was 1 year when I was 16 that I spent in San Francisco doing my senior year, and there was the whole boom of the psychedelic thing in San Francisco, no? in the 80s. There was concerts, and the whole psychedelic culture was really strong, still lasting, no, from the 70s.
Which year was that?
That was 86. 86, yeah. So I had my experience with psychedelics from my 15s to my 20s, and I took them, to listen to music, hang out with friends, go to concerts. And I had a bad experience when I was 20, with all this recreational experience, and I stopped doing psychedelics or any kind of other drugs until I was much more, mature. I reconnected with psychedelics when I was 28, but that was for ceremonial work. And since then, all my experience, I consider myself like an advanced psychonaut, but they have been in a really ceremony field.
So your love for music was jump started by the trippies, you think?
I think it was earlier, but I immediately established the connection. And I believe I think it's very easy to explain. I mean, music is frequencies, and the psychedelics what they give you is higher frequency. We all made of frequencies. Sometimes we become untuned, we go on lower frequencies, and psychedelics they give you higher frequencies, to tune you. All this thing about the scale of consciousness.
Yeah, I want to dig into that, but first I want to let you finish a little bit of biography. So the bad trip was in your 20s.
My bad trip was in my 20s.
Yeah. But so what happened?
I went out. It was a long night. I drink alcohol. I was exhausted. I needed to go home, and somebody gave me something, which I shouldn't have taken because the night was already over. I didn't have the energy, and so I took this and I went home, and it was for me it was time to rest.
Yeah.
But it jumped in, kick in.
Yeah.
And it wasn't safe. I just did it in a unsafe. No, I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the preparation. I had some.
What do you think it was?
It was LSD, yeah, but the microdot thing, which I thought it wasn't gonna be strong, and it was.
So you felt you were going crazy. You felt.
I think bad trips are when you now I know, and when you don't have the proper set and the setting.
But what's the experience? What's the symptoms of a bad trip?
I couldn't sleep. I was just a lot of thoughts coming to my mind.
Bad thoughts.
Yeah, like what is this thinking, repetitive thinking, obsessive, and I understood it was I just didn't have the setting and the energy, to deal with it. So I became like obsessed to get out. I think that's what happens, when you have a trip, that you want to get out from it, and then it's
the more you want to get out, the harder it gets.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
And so let's continue. I'm curious to when you decide to make music your life.
I think my first contact with music, I was like 8 or 9 years old. We had MTV, and I saw this guy, David Byrne from the Talking Heads. He was doing this amazing concert, and he was playing Psycho Killer, with that drug. This is a really famous show, Yeah. And I became immediately, attracted to that. And then David Bowie, of course, was for me like my opening,
Big inspiration.
But when I was really, really young, 11 years old, I was listening to really advanced, electronic music or ambient or Brian Eno or things like that. I mean, I went really, really fast and deep into mature music, for that age, and I became really, really obsessed. I started playing all sorts of instruments. I had bands, and I did everything myself to start working in music-related business.
Nice. And then someone gave you a chance, like a music producer?
Yeah, when I finished my career, there was an announcement in the newspaper. They were looking for someone to work, on the sales department in Warner Music. Yeah. So, yeah, I entered in Warner. Then I became chief of sales, then product manager. I did marketing. I went to all the promotion, radio, TV, press, and then became very young A&R, which is the guy who deals with the artist. And I signed a first artist that was
E&R stands for
Artist and Research.
Artist and Research. Yeah.
Or artist relations.
Yeah.
I mean, there's.
Yeah.
So it's the person that deals with the artist, With tell them, decide which songs to record, which studio, which producer, the musicians.
Like a manager, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And so who was your first client?
I signed this artist, my first assignment, and they went huge. They went like 2 million copies, and they were nominated to Grammy Latins, and so I was promoted in another company as an A&R director.
But tell us the name about the
Café Quijano.
Café Gitano.
Café Quijano. Like Latin rock music.
But so, did you help them to find their voice, to find their... Would you help them more with the lyrics, with the sound, with the positioning, with the marketing? What was your specialty? What felt natural for you to help them with?
For me, I mean, this is a thing that is been evolving, no? I mean, my relation...
Back then, yeah.
Yeah. Back then was about finding the songs and the sound and the musicians in the studio, the idea for the clip.
Yeah.
Right now, I do different.
I know. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Just indulge me. Sorry, I know people don't like it that I'm so structured, but I just would like to take the audience to where you are now a little gradually. So you did the corporate career at Warner. You get Café Gitano, 2 million copies. You felt on top of the world, and then you went to work for another studio,
another record company.
Another record company called
EMI.
EMI. Okay.
And I was A&R director, which is the guy that really takes the decision on which are the artists and what is the one. And I was very young for that. I was like the youngest guy to achieve that position in the. But
what was the thing that turned you on in that job? What was the moment when you felt so excited that you feel like inebriated, like this is my life? When what happens?
For me, the moment that I enjoy most in the music industry is when I become in love with an artist, and we are starting to find the sound and the ideas, and he's really insecure and he doesn't know where, and that moment, I mean, it's beautiful, no? When they are super successful and they have a bigger structure, and but for me the most exciting times are the moment of helping the artists find their inner voice.
But how do you choose your artists? What is the falling in love? For a woman, for us men, we can talk about that. And what makes you fall in love with an artist?
Well, it's been completely different in my career. At the beginning, I was looking for artists which were like really commercial. They could do songs to sound in the radio. And because I was working in a major company, and they were asking me to sign artists in order to
make money, of course.
Of course. And then this is been evolving. No, I stopped working in major companies, and I create my own labels and management company back in 2012. So I took the freedom on choosing the artists to work with more related, more close to my personal feelings, or the artists I really enjoy the music. And then since then it's become even deeper, the relation that I work with the artists are really the person that are also really inspiring for me.
But so what was the name of the production company that you created?
Back in the 2012 I started with this label, Mundo Zurdo, which
Mundo Absurdo.
Mundo Zurdo, yeah. That was
absurd world.
Zurdo is left-handed.
Not absurd.
I did sign an artist.
How do you say left-handed in Spanish?
Zurdo.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So already you had this approach of being a little bit out of the ordinary. Yeah, interesting. And then we can go into the thing you want to talk about. But so your personal record label that was in Madrid, that was still a little bit out of the ordinary, but still commercial, and that was your job until COVID, probably.
Yeah, well, until COVID, 2019. At the end, I was managing 4 different labels, nine artist management company, publishing. I had participation in a restaurant, a participation in a club. I was managing a lot of things. I have my own studio in my house. I mean, like many things. So
very busy.
I was in a really strong peak of stress and even worse than when I was in major company. No?
Yeah. And then COVID hit.
And
then what happened?
Well, I always had really strong relation with this island. My wife was born here. My father-in-law is really connected to this island. He was the founder of Amnesia, and so we used to come to the island off season. I didn't like the island during the summertime, no. So we used to come maybe January, or Easter, and so with COVID, it was hell in Madrid. My kids, they had to be homeschooling. My house they were doing some works in the street, and there was a lot of noise. I mean, and so we managed to escape to Ibiza. It was for 3 weeks. Then we stayed 1 more week. Then we got this friend who let us the house for the summer, and then we found an amazing place, to stay, and an amazing school, and then we decided to stay maybe for a year. And now we have, me and my wife and my kids, we have a project to stay in the house. No, I managed to cease almost all my activities in Madrid. I still am managing some big artists, but I'm deeply focused now on all my activities to be here, present in the island. No?
Yeah, and you created House of Frequency.
House of Frequency.
So tell us the genesis of House of Frequency. I remember I came to a party at your house. I think it was maybe the opening of the House of Frequency or your birthday, and you made a speech that really stayed with me. You mentioned different actor in this island doing incredible thing, and you basically highlighted this ecosystem of players that would then really increase consciousness in the world through music. And I got immediately hooked because I always thought that my form of expansion of consciousness has always been psychedelics, but I feel psychedelics is not for everyone. and then I when now our listeners know that I'm exploring Tantra, Neo-Tantra as a way of expanding consciousness, but also that is not for everybody. There's a lot of eye-gazing for some people. But music, it's really accessible and international, and everybody loves it. And so tell me, how did we go to that speech? From you being busy with like 4 labels and a management company and a restaurant, and then now you're in Ibiza and you want to expand consciousness. How that happened?
Well, first, when I came to Ibiza, I immediately become really interested about the consciousness and frequency altogether, no? And I was always talking to people about frequencies, no? So the name for my house and the studio and the label immediately came, which was House of Frequency. And I started digging very deep into sound healing music and studying a lot of different scales, microtonal music, and all these delta waves, frequencies, to keep you in a more relaxed state of mind. All this, Columbia scale, the solfeggio, frequencies, and everything that could be read or studied about this. And I went to some sound ceremonies, some with medicine, some without. I went to sound ceremonies, really amazing sound ceremonies without any kind of medicine. I did a lot of breath work also without any kind of medicine, and I immediately understood that the same state could be achieved through music, through breathing, and with medicine. But you could take medicine out and reach the same experience, no? And maybe not as huge, maybe not 6 hours of deep journey, but definitely a really nice and safe experience, no? To open and all your blocks, and so after there's something I understood immediately, which was there is not a frequency that heals everyone. We might be some untuned, no, out of tune. Some of our organs might be out of tune, but there is not the 4-4-2 frequency that will heal you or will help me. I understood that more important than any frequency is the intention of the guy who's doing the music, no? And there is in terms of healing, there is a much more power when there is a live guy playing in here than if you listen to the music recorded in Spotify. That's what I discovered for me. That was the biggest thing, no? Like you know this book from this Japanese guy with the drops of water, no? The crystals. When you play music to the crystals, the water
change the molecular structure.
Yeah. That's. I mean, this is something I study. Also, it has to be. It is connected with the quantum physics, no? But I understood how important was, more than any scale, more than any frequency, that the music is play live, and there is an intention from the guy who's playing in order to heal, no? And the effects is completely different than if you play pre-recorded music. So one of the ideas that came to me really intense is like, why there is such a few space in Ibiza to play live music. I mean, everything is amazing. Ibiza has been the focus of electronic music for the last 30 years. It's created the biggest anthems in electronic music, but there is not opportunities for live music in the island. And I've been dealing with a lot of international artists that wanted to come to Ibiza to play live music. There wasn't opportunities, no, because it was just people came here for the clubs and for party, and they stopped. You know, and I mean the live music in Ibiza stopped. So I immediately wanted to map the artists living here and the possibilities in order to explore.
So I would like to expand a little bit on this concept.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Japanese book on how sound affect the molecular structure of the water. We've seen in What the Bleep Do You Know back in the days. But so I'm curious, and I would like you to expand on. You said that not only the frequency of sound affect the molecular structure of the water, so most likely the molecular structure of human beings, but you said that the intention of the musician affect in a way. But so can you try to explain how that the intention would then, like pass into the sound and then pass into our molecular structure? Is pretty esoteric stuff.
Yeah, well, I cannot really explain because it's quantum physics, no? I mean, I don't have the knowledge to know, but this is true. I mean, it's not the same for you to listen a song in Spotify, which can be a beautiful experience, that attend to a show and connect with 2,000 people with the same music and vibration with a guy that is producing the music at that present time, no?
Yeah. But so I've done a holotropic breath work recently. It's this practice that Stan Grof, who's the godfather of psychedelic assisted psychotherapy, created with the wife Christina. They created holotropic breath work, and this system works with music, really. You have this, you over oxygenate your brain, you go like this deep breathing with your mouth, and then there is a playlist, and that's where the magic happens. And in this playlist, that can be an hour and a half up to, we call it level 1, 1 hour and a half, level 2, 3 hours. And this 3 hours playlist guides you and controls your emotions. Yeah. And so there is, like a departure, a taking off, And then there is, I've done this here with an extremely skillful facilitator in the island, and you arrive at some stage, at some sort of threshold that then allows you to transcend, that then allow you to forget who you are and go into a mystical state. And that would happen thanks to the music that would guide you there.
Yeah.
So this is incredible. So this is what you're describing, right?
Yeah, well, you're talking with playlists, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've participated in music ceremonies,
Yeah.
where there is live musicians and then there is pre-recorded music being played. And don't take me wrong, I mean, pre-recorded music is amazingly beautiful when you are in a higher state because it opens your emotions. But
When it's live, it's even stronger.
what is live and is shared with an audience and and there is a guy putting the intention
Yeah.
to heal, the effect is even stronger. No?
Yeah. But so you went in a mission to find musician that plays with intention, right?
Well, yeah, immediately one of the guys I was working in my label, Alex Serra,
Yeah.
which is an amazing. You've seen him live, no?
Yeah.
Yes, he's an amazing human being, and he went in an amazing journey to find his inner voice, and what he found is a treasure. No, he does not only have this unique voice, but the message he found himself and his sharing is unbelievable, and the concerts he does is already like a ceremony, no? So I was working with him before coming to the island, and I brought him, and he connected immediately with the island and the conscious and everything that was happening in here, and then I started to meet some artists, that were digging in the same place, like Ape in Ore and Nick Mulvey. They maybe not musical, but he's conscious. The words he uses, the way he describes the present moment for humanity is really conscious at the same time. No? So for me, it was easy to. I find this artist, or these artists, they found me. No? And,
Yeah. But so it's interesting. It's very interesting what you're saying. It is also possible, I remember speaking with some musician, and when you said like Alex Serra has done all this inner work to find the inner voice, but sometimes I feel that the deeper you go, then you go out, and it's like the message really comes from maybe some sort of like cosmic design. You become like a channeler.
Yeah.
Many musicians, they say, when they ask, but so where do you come your inspiration? And he says it's come from God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have that in your label?
In this label, yeah. The artists I'm working, they are totally, they know, all of them, that they are channelers.
Yeah.
And they know they are getting their inner voice from maybe back past lives, and past cultures, and absolutely, yeah.
Amazing what you're doing. So would you say that yours is the first conscious label, or is happening in the rest of the world?
No,
also?
the first. I mean, I think conscious music has existed for many years.
Yeah.
No?
There is conscious rap, I remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I never heard conscious.
They say that this picture of the earth being taken, from the moon.
The moon.
No? And there was the beginning of the conscious, the conservation conscious movement on earth. No? Yeah. And I think there was music done back in the 60s and the 70s, like Brian Eno. He was the father of the ambient music, and he wrote this album, called Apollo, which was I don't know if you know that album. It has this amazing track called An Instant, and the album described how would a man would feel, being in the space without the gravity. For me, when I heard that album, really small, I didn't know back then, But for me, it's one of the early beginners albums of the conscious music, no?
Yeah.
For example. I mean,
Yeah.
and if you go back and dig into, world music, I mean, it's not only from Europe. I mean, you dig into the scales and the sacred music from the. I mean, there's conscious. I mean, so it's not even from this century.
Yeah.
Music was used to achieve conscious forever.
Yeah.
Even in the beginning, no? In Africa, I mean,
of course.
a drum.
Yes.
A drum is made with a tree and a piece of cow, no, a skin of cow.
Yeah.
And it's a sacred instrument, no, to connect with the rhythm of the earth. So it was totally sacred. You know what they say about the Romans, no? The lyre of Hermes was also a weapon. A tool to connect with the god. So sacred or high conscious music has been always here. I think we lost it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't take me wrong. I love electronic music and I love dancing and going out. But when music becomes something just for party, it lost
the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, a song had always the power to be a revolution, no? A single song.
Beautiful.
And I think music has lost conscious on the way.
Yeah.
It's fun, no? To dance reggaeton. I love it sometimes too.
Yeah.
But it was music conceived with the sex chakra, not with the heart or.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. But so one topic that is very dear to you is the possibility that psychedelic might be abused.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit like that. Expand a little bit on this concept of abuse.
Well, in the 60s, back in the 60s, all these psychedelics, there was amazing studies like right now, and everything was interrupted, no? And the substance went all to the A-list, and so we've been without studies on psychedelics for 50 years.
Yeah.
And now back in the 2010, when it was, those substances were again, included, and we could start doing research.
Yeah.
The problem with this, I mean, is amazing. The problem that is happening right now, especially in places like Ibiza, no, is like we are not taking serious we know in order to take psychedelics, we need to do a proper set and a proper setting. It's the first rule, no?
Yeah.
And people is not taking this seriously, and they are taking psychedelics by themselves, a lot of quantities every week. They are not doing a proper, set. They are not doing a proper integration. They are using psychedelics to escape. And that is, bringing a lot of mental health issues. And I'm very sad with this because it can be a moment where, the pharmaceutical industry and the governments and the legislation take examples of this.
Yes, so right.
This abuse in order to interrupt the most amazing thing that is happening right now with all.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit, concerned, and I think we all that know the psychedelics, we have to raise our hand and say, guys, use this properly, please.
Be careful, Yeah, no, it's true. Absolutely. In Spain now, there's been some raids of police during ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah.
I think there's been like 4, and then when they go in front of the judge, there is no crime, because in Spain, you can do, even if DMT is illegal, you can, personal consumption is allowed, but for sure you need to be really careful in doing with the right practitioners. Definitely not doing in, people that take 1 gram, 2 gram of mushroom at concert. I think it's a little bit reckless. So it's true that we don't want to make the same mistake with LSD and the Kankisi and the prankster that were like having crazy party, and then then casualties happen and people get hurt, and that was the excuse for the government to criminalize this compound. So this point you're raising is very important.
Even right now, I mean, I know I have close people in this island that again, a few cases, no,
Yeah.
of people taking psychedelics by their own,
Yeah.
too much every week, and now they are facing, like it triggers mental,
Yeah.
and this is really scary, no? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. No, it's very important that you bring this up. Jamie Wheel from the Flow movement, he says that there is a new generation of peak addict, addicted to peak and bliss whore.
yeah,
Because it's true, part of the psychedelic experience might, at their best, might create this peak experience of pleasure and joy and heaven and connection. But that's, it's like, that's one part of the experience. Then, you need to do the work.
yeah,
You need, this realization, this sense of connectivity then needs to translate in your everyday life, in your behavior, in the way you relate to others, in the way you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
If, like, someone sent me a message like, everybody wants to do ayahuasca, nobody wants to do the dishes.
absolutely.
Because it's this psychedelic that teach us a new way to relate with oneself, with other. And that might sounds a little preachy and woohoo, but ultimately, they open your heart and they increase this connectivity with other. And if you keep on going back, looking for the peak experience and the bliss, but then without integrating the teaching, then it's a way of misusing it.
Yeah.
And people, and then practitioner would bank on it because, then it becomes a business. And then, a practitioner see the same people coming over and over again. And not every practitioner is ethical enough to say, listen, these planta teachers, like every teachers, you need to do the homework and learn what they taught you. Because if you show up again without having done the homework, the teacher lose interest. Yeah. But they don't. Most of these practitioners, they take the check.
For me, it's very easy to get lost in the realms of the vegetable, how's it called?
Plant medicine.
The plant medicine.
Yeah.
It's very, it's so beautiful to watch a tree talking, breathing, but we have to remember that we are opening portals to some other dimensions. Our astral body is out of our body. It's like we are diving on like 200 meters underwater. It's not a journey that you can do, we have to take care. When we cannot do this by ourselves, we do this because we need to heal things, not just to have fun and see the universe exploring I totally am super happy that all these substances are being regulated. Legalizando.
Yeah, rescheduling and legalizing.
Yeah. But I'm concerned on how will this, what will happen. You were mentioning about what is the future in the next 10 years. No?
Yeah.
If everyone can buy psychedelics in the store to go on a party and they mix with other substance, and there's going to be immediate cases of psychosis and so I think they need really strict prescription. No, psychedelics can only be taken if there is a safe set and a safe setting.
Yeah.
No?
The model now, the MAPS model and the compact pathways, the big companies, they are basically creating a program to license therapists. And only the licensed therapist can access the medicine, and only them can give it to the patient.
Yeah.
So the model that now the regulators and the new bio company are creating is not to be able for the retail, for the people to be able to access it.
Yeah.
But then again, we can discuss that. The training. Who certifies this practitioner? And this is, I don't want to be too much off topic because we wanted to really talk about music. But the question is, is it even possible to integrate this medicine that comes with the cosmovision of cosmic design, ancestry, medicine, into a secular materialistic health care that don't believe.
Yeah.
You know, if you ask a psychologist, they don't talk about God, they don't talk about spirit, they don't talk about ancestry, they don't even talk about creating support, they don't even hug, they can't touch, they can't even take for a coffee. It's, you know, like the mental health model of the Western world is almost incompatible with the plant medicine world.
Yeah.
But tell us more about music. So what are you up to now? Are you looking for artists? If people are listening to, is there some conscious musician out there? Should they send you a reel or no?
Not really have a pre-packed agenda in the studio. And I'm also directing this new festival.
Oh, nice. Tell us about it.
The idea is bringing live music to Ibiza, no? But for me, it's like an act of regaining consciousness, no? So this is going to happen this year for the first edition. It's going to be in Escanar. It's going to be 2,000 people capacity scenario.
It's like an outdoor.
It's an outdoor
big field
in the beach, Escanar.
Nice.
Near the forest. I want to do some kind of program like, I don't know if you know, Noches del Botánico in Madrid or Pirineo Sur.
Nice.
Like 2 artists each night.
For how many nights?
10 nights.
10 nights.
I mean, you don't need to go to the 10 nights. You
Of course.
Which is the night you want to go, and you buy a single ticket for that night.
Amazing.
It's like a program.
When is going to be?
This is going to be from the 6th to the 16th of July.
Oh, okay, so coming
We're going to
soon.
announce the artists really soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Amazing artists never came to Ibiza, never came to Spain at all. And I think
amazing. They're all going to sing with intention?
Yeah, the artists I'm bringing, they have a really clear intention. Yeah.
But so how people can find information about that?
The festival.
Yeah.
We are going to be announcing April the 28th.
Yeah. But give us an insight here on, like, is there a website?
Is there a website? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like to tell.
Not yet.
I mean, I can tell you maybe. Yeah, some of the bigger artists living in the island are going to be performed.
Yeah.
Like Alex and Ape and
Nick.
Yeah. But we are bringing some amazing artists. I mean, I can maybe do a window for you and like an exclusive. I'm bringing this North African.
No, but I'm not asking if you can't disclose them, but just like, you know, for people that are listening, if they want to come, what's the name of the festival?
Kanakana.
Kanakana. It's going to be kanakana.com?
Kanakana.com, yeah.
Okay.
Kanakanamusic.com.
Kanakanamusic.com. So we're going to put it on the show notes.
Yeah.
And people can
but
buy
it's
the
gonna
ticket.
it's gonna be heavily promoted and announced, and there's big bands and artists coming, so it's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna reach people in Ibiza. I mean.
Amazing. And so, what's gonna be the policy for medicine
in the festival?
Yeah,
I was discussing with my partners if we should do no alcohol as a policy.
Nice.
No.
Nice.
And I think it would be really challenging, no, in order, because I want this festival to be, you know, like an engine of conscious, like the act of bringing live music back to the island is a conscious act of restoring, you know, this. Because the festival has this climate, you know, conscious theme.
Yeah.
We are talking with Brian Eno's Earth Person organization in order to be partnered with them and some other organizations. At the end, the festival pretends, you know, to be, you know, in the message of Earth, the urge of Earth conservation be the message, no, of this festival. That's why we are doing this. That's why.
But so you ask the musician to.
We are choosing artists that are
fitting.
Yeah.
This theme.
Yeah. I'm not bringing Shakira.
That's so interesting because I think you're really, you know, creating a movement. I mean, I stopped alcohol, as you know, 7 months ago, 8 months ago. So I'm totally with you. How do we create successful event without alcohol? Maybe having just one drink. So with the ticket, you get, with your ticket, you can get one drink, and then that's it. If you don't have the ticket is gone. Because
Well, for me, I tell you, have you been in the Garden of Light, no? Jason
Yes,
and Maris,
yes,
they
of course.
started doing this last year.
Beautiful program,
And it's a
yes.
beautiful programming. I've
Yeah.
been helping them with some artists
Yeah.
and doing rehearsals of some of the artists they've been presenting in my place. And it was taking some people friends from Madrid, no, to Garden of Light, and
Yeah.
they said, okay, I'm gonna get a beer. No, you cannot get a beer. And they were like, what? I mean, it was like the idea of spending 3-4 hours in a place just connecting with the music
I think it's beautiful.
for a lot of people, even for me at the beginning. No, it was like, but I cannot get a mezcal or a wine if I want. The idea is shocking at the beginning, but the experience of being in contact with the music without alcohol, it was unbelievable. The level of integration between the artists and the audience, no.
Yeah.
But this festival we are doing is 2,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, I love to be the first festival
Without
with
alcohol.
this capacity.
Yeah.
Just saying this message, no, there's no alcohol. There's such a beautiful integration with the audience when you don't have this low frequency substance. No?
Are you gonna be able to do it?
No, because there is. I mean,
Because the
but
force of commerce.
Some of my partners, I mean, they are saying like, okay, Diego, maybe this, but we need to have this maybe natural wine and this whatever organic beer and artisan mezcal and
That's a big topic, I've shared in this podcast that we're developing an ecosystem in the old town where we're gonna have therapy room for transpersonal and somatic work and incredible teachers, and so we're now looking for an operator for a bar, and then we were like, should we do juice or should we do mezcal bar?
Yeah.
And I'm like you. It's a conundrum. And so I was speaking with Mattia Milani. He's a good friend of ours who started this community Terra Iris. And he says, it's not about the consumption, but again, it's like the intention.
Yeah.
He was telling me, if you're present to a glass of mezcal and you're really honor it and you're present with it, like a glass of wine, it's always the abuse.
Yeah.
So maybe we're gonna do juice during the day and mezcal and wine during the night. But it's a big topic that you're exploring. It's amazing that you're doing this work.
In this conversation, it seems that we talk to many different things, but at the end, it's all the same. No, low frequency, high frequency, the music, the life, the intention. I mean, it's all the same. No.
Yeah. I feel I just would like you to try again. I know it's very complicated stuff, but when you say music is frequency, low frequency, high frequency, can you tell me more about that?
Okay. Well, music is basically three things, no? It's melody, harmony, and rhythm.
Melody, harmony, and rhythm.
The rhythm is the drum.
Yeah.
The melody is maybe the singing voice, and the harmony is the scale of the that's what music is made of, no? So depending on how you combine these elements, you get a different result on the listener, no? And music is really transformative. I mean, we are made of, all our cells are vibrating in cells. So when we receive this music, our cells start vibrating in another state.
We are instruments ourselves.
Yeah. If you listen to hard metal music, immediately you get this like kind of, you want to jump into the audience, and be aggressive. And if you're listening to, this is immediate. You will receive these frequencies, and our body reacts. And so
Amazing. But so what's your dream for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of House of Frequency? Okay, there is this branding agency that we've been using for Terra Viva, for our regenerative farm. They make us do this exercise. Okay, imagine it's 20 years from now.
Yeah.
So 2043.
Yeah.
There's an article of House of Frequency on the newspaper.
Yeah.
What does it say?
Well, 2043.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned about 2043. I have two kids, and I mean, these last 2 summers it's been fucking, hot in Ibiza. I don't know how it's gonna be 2043 in 20 years. I'm really concerned. That's why all my projects are also related to earth conservation. No? I think it's impossible to stop the climate change effects, but at least we should do a little.
No, but it is possible. It is, like in Ibiza. Ibiza is 500 square kilometer.
Yeah.
1/3 is pine and 1/3 is abandoned land or tilled.
Yeah.
So 2/3 doesn't absorb very much CO2 and doesn't absorb much water.
Yeah.
With this movement, with all these regenerative farms like Juntos and San Cristobal and Terra Masia and Terra Iris and Terra Viva, there is a movement of people regenerating the land, creating biodiversity, integrating animals, and that will create more water, will retain the water that otherwise goes into the sea. It would retain the water in the aquifer, will retain the CO2, and if we regenerate 100 square kilometer, we can change the climate in this island. It will be more temperate. We will not have 40
even
degrees.
if the whole planet.
Even if the whole planet, because it's very local, it will become more moist, more, less dry in the summer, and we can create water with regeneration. That's why it's talked everywhere. Regenerative agriculture is one of the top solution for climate change. We can do that. But so forget a little bit, assuming that we solve the climate crisis, and maybe let's reduce 1 year, because otherwise we went too out there. So House of Frequency 2033, 10 years from now, what do you want to see an article say about House of Frequency label?
I mean, first, I would love to be here in the island. Is in 20 years. It's difficult, no? The island is getting, so
Too
expensive.
expensive.
It's too expensive, no? And many interesting people and artists and many they cannot afford to live here, And for me, this is a disaster. So if only really wealthy people can live in the island. I mean, there are many interesting, wealthy people living in the island, but for me, there is a problem, no?
Yeah.
So, for me, I mean, House of Frequency is one of the projects I have, and really, mental health for me is really important issue as much as the earth conservation. So, House of Frequency is there's vehicles in order to restore, mental health problems, consciousness in order to be more, So it's not my House of Frequency, my main, thing. I want it to keep being like it is. I mean, it's a place for artists to meet themselves, to have, the tools in order to create music. I love to help as many artists, as talented as Alex or Apes as I can.
Yeah.
There is a lot of artists right now in the world. I mean, it's really easy to achieve.
Yeah.
So maybe the article says, 20 years ago, House of Frequency created a trend of live music with intention that has developed into communities where artists would live together and regenerate the land, creating pod of creativity. And, it's like Terra Iris is doing it,
Absolutely.
Like, it's true, Ibiza is expensive if you want a big house on your own.
Yeah.
But if you divide the rent in 10, 15 people, it becomes affording.
Yeah.
And then, if you...
The problem is the law that doesn't allow you to do that. And,
some law doesn't. So maybe that's the... I mean, if you have a 6-bedroom, 7-bedroom house, you can leave 10 people. And then maybe, a couple of people are hidden somewhere. But no, that's a very good point about Ibiza being so expensive. But it is possible that with the community model, it's a good model. I mean, it's not easy to live in community, but also can be an opportunity for growth. And that the Terra Iris model makes living in this island affordable.
Yeah.
And like an enterprise like mine, for example, with the Hotelito in town, the Diffuso, in low season, we're going to have super good price for artists and practitioner.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future there's going to be a more seasonal type of Ibiza, where in the high season it's more for the rich people, and in low season it's more for the artists.
Yeah, totally, yeah. But even now it's hard to find a house for the winter time in Ibiza. At a normal price. But anyways, back to my I would love in 20 years to keep in one of the agents, for this transition. I think after the COVID, what happened in Ibiza is okay. It's good, the club scene, the nightlife, the luxury thing, the judge, and all these rich people. But I think the daylight has emerged in Ibiza with a lot of regenerative projects. And, so I would love to be part of this daylight movement, no?
Yeah.
All related with artists, music, consciousness, taking care of mental health.
I love this expression, the day life instead of nightlife. Yeah. A conscious day life.
Conscious day life.
Amazing.
Conscious movement.
Amazing. Listen, Diego, I think that's been so nice to have you. I think you raised so many interesting topics. You're like walking the talk. You're doing the festival. You're producing interesting music. I'm very grateful to have you here in the island. Is there anything? We're getting close to an hour. Is a perfect time to end.
Well, I'm sure when I listen to this, it's going to be a lot of many things I wanted to.
You can come back.
If a personal excuse for us to meet again.
Of course, for sure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. Thank you.
Koka sunarai sunarayenti. 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 Koka sunarai sunarayenti.